Hello, Cathy here with a special edition of the podcast with my mom, Linda, in Cork.
Hey, I'm so happy to be doing this. What fun.
So me and my mom always go to the cinema when I'm in Cork, and we love going together, and we are going to see Everybody Wants Some, the new Richard Linklater? I can't pronounce his surname. Anyway, we love him because he made Boyhood, and we don't know anything about this movie. We know it's set around 1980, and we don't know the cast, and apparently there's a really good soundtrack. So, yeah. Okay, bye.
You gotta embrace your inner strange, man. Just be weird.
Everybody wants some. I want some too. Everybody wants some.
Okay, so Cathy here, back with my mom, Linda. We are walking back through Cork City. So a bit awkward about recording this podcast. Normally record in Richmond when there's nobody around and nobody we know. So we waited 5 minutes since we left the cinema and we haven't discussed the film yet. Mother, your thoughts?
Yeah, it didn't do much for me.
Oh, really?
No. The music, I mean, because I actually remember 1980, set in 1980. I love the soundtrack.
Were you in college in 1980?
No, I got married in 1980.
Oh, right. But you weren't far off their age group, though.
I was about their age group.
Yeah.
I would have been 20
Okay, yeah.
in 1980.
That's
I was exactly that age
cool.
group. But like American college and Irish college had
It's like different.
no connection, nothing. So the soundtrack was great. Maybe it's because of my age. I just found them all dead boring.
Okay, interesting.
So basically, yeah, I was a bit bored. But having said that, when I had kind of written it off in my mind, it kind of took on, without giving a spoiler, it kind of took on not so much a romantic twist, but relationships started deepening.
Yeah.
And then I got interested in the sort of development of the characters, which wasn't much. It was more like party. But the little bit of development of the characters did appeal to me. And I certainly had some laughs. So, whilst I started off bored, thinking, oh, what a waste of my time, I did have a few laughs, and I did end up actually liking a few of them. So it did something. It kind of got me pulled into the characterization. I kind of liked the ones I was supposed, but I did feel a bit manipulated.
Okay, yeah.
They kind of manipulated the characters that you knew who you were supposed to like and who you were supposed to not like.
Yeah.
But overall, I don't know what the intention was, but it kind of just felt like a feel-good, vacuous, nice movie, nice music. Want to dance after it and listen to it.
Yeah, we danced at the
Yeah.
end when the credits came
Yeah.
up and we were the only ones in the cinema. We were dancing.
Kind of happy to listen to 70s music now for a few hours.
And it's funny that you just said you don't know what the intent is, because first of all, I really enjoyed it, but at the end I did think, I wonder why he made that movie, because Boyhood to me was one of my favourite films ever, and it was a deeply unique movie and it was a really amazing project, and then this is just like, it's I enjoyed it actually, but what was the point? What's the aim? We've all seen enough movies set in the 80s about white dudes in America being jockish, and I don't know, but I have to say, so for me, I really liked it because I went in, I had read reviews, but I hadn't seen any trailers, and some reviews were really positive and some reviews were like exactly what you said, boring, they're all just partying, all they want to do is get laid, it's such a male film, like there's nothing in it for women, and they're all just white guys who, there's one black guy in it, and it's just very undiverse, and boring is essentially what so many people are saying. But so I think because I went in with that attitude, and also because I loved Boyhood, which was quite a movie that washed over you, I just kind of let this wash over me. I wasn't expecting any plot, and don't think there was one. It's essentially, the plot, for anyone who doesn't know, is set over 3 days. The guys, we see it from the point of view of Jake, who is the star of his high school baseball team. I was like, what's the sport? And he's the star of his high school baseball team, and he lands on his day one in his big frat house. They're not a frat house, they're the house that they're all going to live in, the team. And we see through his eyes, the older people who were in like 4th year of uni, and they're like the star of the baseball team, and they're going to go pro, and you meet all the different characters, and it's just 3 days of partying basically. But I think it really evoked college for me. Obviously I didn't go to college like that either, but like all you have to do all day is sit around and just talk to your friends and drink, and everyone's trying to meet people, and I enjoyed that aspect and the music, but it was very forgettable. I don't think I'd remember it in a week.
I hardly remember.
I know I said that about the last movie
remember
we
it
reviewed
now.
as well. Yeah,
But there's something now that when I say what was it for, but there was something. There was a line one of the girls said, something like, "We give everything all the meaning it has.
Yeah.
We decide the meaning." And there was something in the movie that was a countdown. It was a countdown to the first lecture, and then it ended just at the beginning of the first lecture. So it was almost like it was something to do with building up to a beginning.
Yeah, and it was that kind of transitionary period in your life. This guy's finished high school. He hasn't actually started college proper yet. And he's just going with the flow and just enjoying his experience.
And he was, but the whole movie was from the perspective of the baseball team
Yeah.
and the jocks. And I suppose one interesting thing was it did sort of demythify the jocks. They were totally insecure idiots.
Yeah.
Whereas you get this image of the jocks being all pumped up and full of themselves and preened. And these weren't. They were kind of likeable jocks.
Yeah, and I felt the representation of jocks, they were represented in a very different way than you see in most movies. And I think Richard Linklater, the director, was in a team in college. Because usually when you watch any sort of movie and there's jocks in it, it's like, oh, they're all wearing their big jock jackets and they're all going around and acting the same. And what was really fun, there's a really funny sequence, and this isn't spoiler. They basically just want to get laid. So they go to a disco and they're dressed in all the disco gear, which was a really fun scene of the 70s disco dancing. And because it's 1980, so it's like, just out of the 70s. It's a full-on disco scene. Then they go to a hoedown, like Cotton Eye Joe thing, and they're all
fun.
dressed as country
Rodeo.
because they want to pull all the country chicks. And then in a different scene, they're all in punk, and they're all dressed in punk, and it's just like that kind of thing around when you're in college, you don't have your identity yet. But it was also really set in the time, wasn't it? Like, you really felt like it was set in that year. So yeah, I think it was really fun. And I liked
it was fun, and I don't know where it was going, but at the end they were the jocks and they were in history class.
Yeah.
So it was almost like it just got pulled out of the realm of the frat house or the lads, and it was sort of into reality.
And it was like, oh yeah, there's a guy in it. So I was whispering to Mum in the cinema, which you're not supposed to do. I think one of the guys, the stoner blonde guy, is in Grey's Anatomy. So we need to check that one. Other than that, it was I've never seen any of them.
know any of
Cast of people I've never seen, but I thought they were really good. Like, so much so to the point I just felt like they were playing themselves.
They were. The only thing that didn't work with me with the casting is they all looked about 30.
Yeah, they looked really old.
They didn't look like they were supposed to be freshmen, which I'm guessing is 18, 19.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
I would say the actors were all around 30, and I could feel that.
The girls seemed young, the love interest.
That's right, she
Probably
was a
in
bit
her 20s
younger.
though. What about Jake? He seemed a bit younger, the main guy.
He was very clean, wasn't he?
Jake reminded me of the boy from Boyhood.
Yeah. He was
I
that
thought-
clean, he was that all-American boy.
Yeah.
It was very typically typecast. It was a bit of a...
Yeah.
I don't know what it was. I don't know what it was about or what it was for, but it was kind of typically casted. And you could kind of just lay back and not work too hard at it.
And I noticed so we went at 6:30 on a Sunday, so it wasn't that busy, but there was a group of guys probably in their 20s in front of us, 4 of them together, and they loved it. They were laughing at all the jokes. I have to say the audience laughed quite a lot though.
I laughed a lot.
Yeah, I laughed too.
I did laugh a lot. Some of it was just darn funny, like just the pranks they were playing on each other.
Yeah, and that's like what Dave and all his friends used to do in college. And I also loved there's a whole sequence where they're all just singing along to a song, and they're basically trying to impress each other because they all know the words, and it's like everyone does that.
Yeah.
And another thing I want to say, which is actually separate from the movie, is what did you think of the Ghostbusters trailer that came on before? Because it's getting loads of controversy online.
I don't know. It wouldn't attract me to go out and
Wouldn't-
watch it. No.
Do you like the original?
I don't remember the original.
Oh, right, okay, fair enough. Because people are hating on it, and I actually thought I watched a different trailer for it which looked shit, but I thought this one looked really good, and people are being awful about it online, so I was interested to see what you thought of it. I certainly
didn't
thought
appeal
it
to
looked... I wouldn't be loving it, but...
Slapstick? It looked
Yeah.
like a bit of slapstick.
I thought it looked good anyway, so that's a totally separate note. So yeah, review is we both enjoyed it.
It was enjoyable, it was forgettable. There's a suspicion that something was intended in it, but I didn't get it.
I feel like he was like wanting to capture his youth on film.
Maybe.
It's very nostalgic, and I think it was quite sweet. But I think ultimately it's disappointing. Sequel to Boyhood, not sequel, but movie to come after that from the same director.
Oh yeah.
I'd be expecting something really groundbreaking.
It didn't have the depth.
No.
It didn't. It didn't change anything. It doesn't leave me with any questions or wondering or deep impressions.
No, but I really enjoyed it. So
I had a laugh.
yeah. All right. Okay. Bye. Thank you,
Okay,
Mom,
bye
for our
bye.
first guest of the
Thank you,
podcast.
it's great. I love it. Cinnamon Cork.
Yeah.